Hi, everybody. My name's Otto. I'm alcoholic. And unlike Howard, I do have a clock that I am going to try to honor because you all are on your second speaker. All wear their asses out, Howard. They'll be sorry they came. I'm a double winner. I also need to go to on and on because I can talk. And I don't know when to stop. But hopefully this will help. This is my first effort at putting the clock there. I usually have no awareness whatsoever. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here when Oak State is winning, you know. So I get you while you're in good spirits. I happen to be an Oklahoma State fan, so I am not. And your worst case scenario is you all get a 9 seed tomorrow or the next day. You know? I mean, come on, go to the State. Oh. But I'm also a season ticket holder for the Dallas Stars, and we've got a Stanley Cup. So there. Anyway, I'm happy to be here tonight. This is good for me. I haven't done this in a while. I've been on a hiatus. I started having this privilege about 15 years ago of getting to share my experience, strength, and hope. And I've had a wonderful, wonderful time doing it. But like most of us, you know, recovery is not all about butterflies and Bambi and bunnies and flowers in the backyard. Life happens. And sometimes for me and most of the people I work with, every now and then, you know, life's a shit sandwich. And I've lost 30 pounds in the last 6 months, so I'm not enjoying what I'm digesting. So it is a privilege to be here. I am a fill-in. I could have introduced myself as fill-in, but I'm Otto. I'm filling in for someone who couldn't be here tonight, and it's amazing how it works out. You know, I am not in a position to make long-term commitments right now. And I told Tony, I said, if somebody drops out, so we've been trying to get Proctor for a while. Somebody drops out, will give me a holler. And I'm not saying I did that to him. I don't know who it was, but somebody dropped out, and here I am. And I'm pleased to be here because this is where I need to be. I need to hear me. I needed to hear Howard tonight. And I hope you all were here to hear Howard. It was a wonderful message. And mine will be quite different. I'm not smart. Not in the least. In my gene pool, there's a big sign that says no diving. No diving. I'm from a family of 6, and we didn't even come from hard work. So I am the only member of my family of origin. Mom, dad, 2 younger brothers, older sister. I'm the only one to finish high school, and we all 6 grew up in a little 900 square foot house in Oklahoma City. 1 bathroom for the 6 of us, and it was right outside the second turn of the Jalopy dirt track, where they'd race cars and they'd crash into each other and throw mud over the wall, and they would land in our front yard. I thought that was so cool, you know. I didn't know anything about real estate, you know. Location. Did I go to water? What did I do?
You said argued.
I'm also senile, so I know I have one. Okay, anyway. My sobriety date is July 11th, 1985. For that, I'm grateful. My home group, last time, most recently, was the Legacy Group in Plano, Texas. And I enjoyed that fellowship for 11 years. And I recently moved to Bentonville, Arkansas. And I've been there for 2 months. And like any change, I'm not liking it. You know, they don't do it right. Now, I've moved enough to know that they're doing it just fine because they got a lot of people been sober longer than me there, and they seem to be real happy. And I'm kind of like that little train Howard was talking about. I wanted to get to that plateau and be done. I think I can, and get sober. And I'm a speaker, and I'm traveling around the world, and I've got a fabulous story of recovery to share with you. I mean, it's amazing. I thought it was good enough. Why we're adding more chapters, I don't know, Howard. I want to talk to you after the meeting. I need some input. Well, I don't know why I need more chapters. I can't get done now, but I'm going to try. I'm on known as 2CD Otto. I'm going to do my very best, not to do that to you tonight. That's why I bought this big clock with me. And one of the reasons I go so long is I take too long to start, so I'm just going to jump into it. I was an excuse drinker. I had a lot of excuses for drinking. I knew nothing about alcoholism. Never heard of AA. Never heard of Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't know nothing about alcoholism. My idea of a drunk was W.C. Fields. Somebody with a shiny red nose that you laugh at and they make you, it's funny. Or Skid Row bum with the brown paper bag, something like that. Certainly not someone like myself. Certainly not my mom or my dad. I mean, my first higher power was my father. There's one that has all power. That one is Dad. You'd best mind him now. Because if you don't, there's hell to pay at my house if you don't mind Dad. My father was an Oklahoma City police officer, and he had a lot of power and a lot of authority. And if he couldn't make you do what he wanted you to do, he could get on the radio and get enough folks together that they could pretty much have their way. And even though we were poor, we had all kinds of cool stuff. I don't know. He might have known some of Howard's friends. I don't. But I know we couldn't afford it. Let me put it that way. And also, we got to sit on the front row at the circus, and we got to ride in the calliope with the clowns when the circus came to town because we were Freddie's kids. We were the cops' kids, and we were special. And my dad taught us that we were special. And I learned a lot of those same rules that Howard learned growing up. And anybody listen to this CD that hadn't heard Howard's CD, you need to get it because it was really good, and you'll understand this one better. But, the rules where I grew up was big boys don't cry. Boy, that was a heck of a rule. You want to cry? I'll give you something to cry about, man. And that belt would come slinging off my daddy, and sometimes he would hit. My father hit me with a belt that had bullets in it. A gun belt, and it was a very violent home. And you don't cry, and you don't feel bad. You're not allowed to feel bad. If you feel bad, there's something wrong with you. My family, we give each other alcohol and drugs for gifts at Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthdays or whatever. I mean, that's what mom gets. That's what dad gets. That's what we get each other. My brother gave me cocaine for my birthday. I'm just like, wow, I thought he was pissed. Way to go. It was cut 100 times, but it was, my family would give each other generic cards because you can't get a mushy card that says, oh, you're the most wonderful dad. You were always there for me. And, no, that's not true. We have to get cards that are either humorous, have some joke or something funny to them, or they just don't say anything. And you might not even sign it love, just, Otto. I remember one time I was at my dad's and he got a card from my sister that'd been estranged from him for a long time, and it just said, Happy Father's Day, love, Anna. And he took the card and he held it up to me and he says, what do you think she means by that? So, these are the tools I was given when I grew up. I might have been an elephant tied to a tree, but I did not know it. I didn't know. All I knew is what I knew. And, I was told that practice makes perfect, and where there's a will, there's a way. And if anyone can, you can. And quitters never win, and winners never quit. And exceptions are made for exceptional people. And I tried to live by those rules. And being the oldest male, my older sister was the primary enabler. Both my parents were alcoholic, and I'm the hero child. My first brother was the scapegoat, and my youngest brother was the lost child. And I'm the sole survivor. I'm 65, and my whole family is gone. And they were all lost to this disease. And I lost my youngest brother 2 years ago. I had no idea how difficult that loss would be. I had no idea. Wow. But, one thing I can say about that is that if it had been a requirement that someone else in my family join me in recovery, I would not have gotten sober. And fortunately, the only person that I could get sober was me. And the only person that had to get sober was me. And I did. And for that, I'm grateful. So, if you're hanging on somebody else for your sobriety, I recommend that you do what my sponsor told me in the very beginning. It's an interesting rule up there, by the way. Is that a real rule, Howard? I mean, I know Rule 62, but is that a rule? Yeah, I mean, is it in the literature? I don't know. I'm not smart. Is it in it? Well, because I'm glad to know. I didn't know until I got here, so I'm good. But my sponsor gave me 4 rules when I was new, and you will find these in the book. So I'm not one to quote the book. Sometimes I can't remember the 12 steps. No diving. But I do remember these 4 rules. He said, it's going to take you a while to take these 12 steps, Otto. But here's 4 rules I want you to try to start practicing right away. Right away. You can try. You're not going to be able to do it, but try. You can do this while we're trudging this road, to happy destiny. The rule number 1, there is a God. Rule 1B, you're not him. Rule 1C, neither is she. Rule number 2, act like it. Rule number 3, mind your own business. Ooh, but that's a good rule. Because I'm really good at putting the focus on my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my wife, my kids, my boss, my neighbor, the army, the government, the basketball team, the football team, the hockey. I mean, I'm good at, but I'm not so good at introspection. Mind your own business, Otto. And rule 4 was, if a resentment is inevitable, be the giver. That's actually the hardest one. That's the hardest one, because with that, that's just another way of saying to thine own self be true, which is on all the coins that hopefully you have one in your pocket, like I did. To thine own self be true. I was a people pleaser. I would say yes when I don't want to say yes. I would say no when I want to say yes, because I don't want to hurt your feelings, because I don't want to disappoint you, because I don't want to take a risk, because I don't want to live outside the box, And I had to learn to take care of myself and be true to myself. And it was so simple. Most of my resentments are rooted in my own behavior and beliefs and ideas and misbeliefs. And when I started taking those risks and trying to just be honest, my life started to get better. And that's one of the things that helped me in my early sobriety, was life started getting better right away. It doesn't take years and years and years and years to get better. If you're new or nearly new, just keep coming back. 30, 60, 90 days from now, you're not going to believe what happened. It's amazing. It's a rocket ride. I've been launched into a new way of living. And I'm still excited about it. But I had a lot of excuses for drinking. I can remember when I was a young boy and hearing my mother scream. I opened up the bedroom door down into the converted garage. I see my dad with his knees pinning my mother's shoulders to the bed. He's hitting her in the face with his fists, and the wall's covered with blood, and she's screaming, "Freddie, Freddie!" And he points at me and tells me to go back to my room, and I do. And my brothers and my sisters and I, we never say anything. No, we don't say nothing. We get up the next day and this is it. Nothing ever happened. I went to high school, and I was the friendliest boy in school. Big school. I had about 800 kids in my graduating class, and I was class president. I was top teen. I was in student council. I emceed the pep rallies, headed up the paper drives. I danced in the assemblies. I played sports. I was a stud. In high school. And boy, it was downhill from there. Uh, I got drunk after my senior, and whoop, that was downhill. Anyway, I did go off to college at Oklahoma State University after I finished high school, and I didn't do very well. One reason was I took too many hours, and another reason was I failed to go to class. And I drank a lot. They had a tavern there in Stillwater called the Draft Board, and they served draft beer. And I drank a lot of draft beer, and I got drafted. In 1967, that wasn't a good plan. And much to my chagrin, I was drafted into the service, didn't have good enough grades or the money to stay out of the political connections, and so I went in the Army in 1967, and they do a aptitude test, and they didn't make me a tool maker. They made me an infantryman. Like, yes, no, sometimes, maybe, never, ever, and here's a rifle, Otto. So I didn't want to be an infantryman. I wanted to be in charge of the motor pool. I like race cars. I grew up with race cars. I'm class president, top team. I thought I should be in charge of the NCO club, or in the motor pool or something. But no, they gave me a rifle and sent me to Vietnam as an infantryman. And I was fortunate that I didn't have to stay there very long. But the circumstances of my leaving were awful because in 1968, it was the Tet Offensive. In 1968, there weren't many people coming home from Vietnam that completed their tours, and that was the year of the greatest number of casualties in Vietnam. And I went over there and started fighting and watched men die and killed men and saw and did horrible things. And didn't take long for me to walk up on an enemy machine gun, and I was shot twice. I lost my left hip. I lost my left ankle. 30 gunshot wounds. You ever heard the expression, go blow your ass off? It happened to me. I carry my billfold over here, so it looks like I got something going on. And that doesn't work real good when you don't have any money. So, you can only carry so many ones. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, you girls put Kleenex in your bra, or you used to when I was in school. Anyway, when I turned 21, I've been in the hospital 4 months. When I turned 22, I was still there. I had a gross staph infection that would not heal. And they just kept cutting pieces of me off. And they tried to fuse my left hip, but it never fused because I had these giant pins in there. I lost 4 inches of length. I lost my left ankle. I lost my left hip. And after 21 months, they released me. And it was 7 years before the pus quit running out of my butt. And I went to college on the GI Bill, and I did get a degree in accounting. Didn't want it, but I got it. That's what they said I probably should do with my disability. And, I lived with chronic bone-on-bone pain because it never fused solid. If anybody knows anything about anatomy, I had what they call a fibrous union, which is the soft tissue was holding my hip in place, not the bone. And I had about 5 degrees of motion, which was just bone-on-bone motion. And it was terribly painful every day. And so, you don't understand was my pat answer for every dog. A lot of people tried to help me for a long time. A lot of wonderful people cared about me. I'm a nice guy. I mean, I'm not an outlaw. I'm not a thief. I didn't play that role in my family. No, I was the hero in my family. I'm decorated for heroism, Compton. Um, but I couldn't be helped because, see, I'm alcohol. And when I drink, that obsession with the mind, that compulsion starts. And I don't get to choose when I'm going to stop. But I never saw that I didn't choose. I always thought I chose to drink. I just choose not. I mean, you don't understand. If you had this painful hip, if you had my dad, if you'd laid in a hospital for 21 months like I did, if you'd known the abuse, if you'd seen the horrors of combat like I've seen, you'd drink too. You'd buy me a drink. You wouldn't begrudge me a drink. And many did. For your service. Thank you. I mean, I thought I had a sleep disorder because I can't sleep. I lay down at night and I don't get comfy and doze off because I'm tired. I may not have got up till 12, 1, 2 o'clock. I'm not working anymore because it's hard to find a job you can go to at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was supposed to have been there at 7 or 8 that morning, and I haven't been there for a few days. And, they put me on half days, and I couldn't get there now. Because when I drink, I don't know when I'm going to stop, but in my mind, 2 and 2 is 5. I drink because it hurts. I drink because I have nightmares. I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I see horrible visions. I see my father on my mother's chest. I remember that hospital bed. I lay in a cast from my chest down for 9 months. My whole body in plaster. 9 months. Couldn't move anything but my arms. I had to cut my titties off because they got irritated by the cast. They cut windows in it, and they just kept taking stuff out of me trying to cure this infection. It was awful. It was torture. You don't understand. The day before I was shot, we went in on this hot LZ, and men are dying and burning to death, and I rescue a young man that has no legs and no face. His arms are destroyed. I mean, he's still alive. I don't know why. Used our bootlaces to put tourniquets on his legs to keep him alive. Went back into the fight, never knew who he was. He was just a kid in a helicopter. But at night, when I lay down to go to bed, I see him. You don't understand. Yeah, I drink. I like to drink. I drink a lot. I enjoy drinking. Leave me alone. I don't want to hurt you. Mike. My mom and dad married and divorced, married and divorced, married and divorced each other 3 times. Couldn't live with each other, couldn't live without each other. My brothers are married and divorced, married and divorced, married and divorced. I'm married, divorced, married and divorced. My sister, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced. Christmas holiday, mail at our house. We don't have a family tree, we got family thicket. Everybody wants their 1/16th interest in this kid, When my dad left for the last time, my little brother Jack, he battered my mother. And she called her hero son to come save her. One night I went down there and he's unconscious on the floor. He's got paint all over his face where he's been huffing paint in a bag. He'd been living in the doghouse behind her house. Always had big, mean dogs, Doberman pinchers. Eat your dogs. Go through the door to get your dogs. And I called the police. They took him to jail. He served warrants for using stolen credit cards. I went before the judge and I asked the judge, I said, Your Honor, please do not release my brother. Now, I don't know nothing about alcoholism, drug addiction. I don't know nothing about chemical dependency. I don't know nothing. All I know is that I think what I see, what I feel, what I think is. That's all I can say. I suffer from a horrible bias and prejudice of self, but I don't know it. I think it, I see it, I feel it, it is. And if you see it differently, that's how far off base you are. There was no such thing as an umpire seeing the call at first base differently than I saw it. If he saw it differently, he was getting paid. He's on the take because I saw him say it. I didn't know that. Nobody talked. So I asked the judge, I said, Your Honor, please incarcerate my brother. Don't let him go again. You keep letting him go. My brother needs help. I don't know what kind, but he needs help. And I'm sleeping with pistols, fear of my own brother. The judge said, This is an unusual request. Usually the family wants mercy. My mom's standing in the back of the court crying. 2 years, state penitentiary. They sent my brother Jack to Big Mac in McAllister, Oklahoma, where they put him to work painting. This is the unmanageability in my life. This is the unmanageability in his life. Now, I didn't know that practice doesn't make perfect. And I didn't know that where there's a will, there's sometimes, or actually there's more often a conflict than a way. I just thought if I could just do it right, everything will be okay. And so I knew that my mom and I would be, and my daughter would be safer. He used his one phone call to call and tell me he's going to kill my baby daughter. Yeah. I just knew we'd all be better off if he was locked up and got some help of some sort. I don't know what's wrong. And they put him to work pain. And he got high. And they transferred him to a holding cell where he hanged himself. And he took his life. And I felt so responsible. I should have called. I should have visited. I should have written. I should have let them know. I should have all over myself my whole life. I did not know that sometimes no matter how hard we try, it just doesn't work. I don't know I'm powerless. I don't know. I know I don't like me. I don't like me. I loathe me. I'm disgusted with me. I'm stupid. I'm not successful at anything I do. I'm decorated. I have citations. I have awards. I have accolades. Hell, at my 10-year high school reunion, I'm voted the classmate everybody enjoyed seeing the most. I'm voted the classmate that's changed the least, even though I'm all crippled up and can hardly walk. I thought, man, that's pretty cool. Well, they still love me. My high school buddies, they still love me. Later I found out from a therapist, no, Otto, they were just saying you hadn't grown up. You act like you're still in high school. At my 20-year high school reunion, I was a year sober. And I was getting better, but I wasn't better yet. So I was the MC. And then once again, we had one of those silly balladings with the classmate everybody enjoyed seeing the most and what. Oh, I still want to do it. Because, high school were the good days. And I'm handing out albums from the 60s, Beatles albums and, Rolling Stones and things. And, geez, they're still around. And we get to the classmate that everybody enjoyed seeing the most, and we were the Northwest Knights. And it was the Oh What a Night Award. Isn't that clever? Oh What a Night Award for the classmate everybody enjoyed seeing the most. And I opened up the envelope, and it's me. This big boy's fixing to cry because I haven't had a drink in a year. And I got snot bubbles coming out of my nose, tears running down my face, and I'm just trying to say thank you. I love you guys too. And I had to be helped to my seat. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I don't know, sobriety is so good. I'm having such a good time. It's so good. We worked so hard making this happen. Wonderful. So anyway, after the dance and everything's over, we're going up to the hospitality suite, and we're cleaning off the registration table. And the registration table's the ballot box, and on the ballot box is a tally sheet, and on the tally sheet's the truth. Now, the truth will set you free. Truth is essential in recovery. Now, whose truth? I don't know, but, a truth. You got to find the truth. And the truth sets you free. First, it might piss you off. And the truth was, out of all these like 500 people at this reunion, only 25 bothered to fill out this stupid ballot. 575 of them or 475 of them have grown up and known that this is stupid. Yeah. We don't give a damn. We're here to see who we want to see. And of the 25 ballots cast, 23 of my classmates got 1 vote each, and I got 2. So the person counting the ballots, saw that I won, wrote my name down as the winner, put it in the envelope, and sent it up. When I opened that envelope and saw my name, what I felt was, and what I perceived was, what I knew was that you had all chosen me. And those tears and those snot bubbles were real and congruent with my reality, which in no way resembles reality. And what a wonderful gift my higher power gave me that night, because I was able to laugh at myself for being so deluded. And that's the way it's been for me throughout my sobriety. Well, Howard did an eloquent job describing our streets. I'm an alcoholic. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I like to drink. I drink to excess. I missed my daughter's 10th birthday because I just stopped to have a drink on the way home. I was just going to have a drink. I mean, there's nowhere I wanted to be more than at my daughter's 10th birthday that night. I was having a sleepover. We planned, we worked, we got ready. And I stopped to have a drink, and I didn't make it. I hated me for that. I hated me for the things I did, drunk and sober. I hated me for the things I couldn't make happen. I go into a nightclub, and I'm dancing. I like to dance, and I like to drink, and I might be crippled, but you're not going to know it. I'm rough. And I've been drinking 10, 12 hours this day, and I stumble out into the parking lot, and I'm hanging onto the car so I don't fall down, just puking my guts out. Just puke, just blowing out. I'm a pukey drunk. I'm just, it's on these 4 people's cars, and it's on my pants and my boots. And, oh, God, and, it tastes like Mary acid. It's just, and I got to go back in the club and get another drink and wash that taste out of my mouth. Oh, I got little pieces of corn dog in my nose. We've been at the fair all day, Oh, God, it's awful. Tell that little gal. Whoa, I got sick. I got sick. Oh, I promise I will never, ever, as long as I live, ever eat another state fair corn dog. Oh, I think that greasy damn thing made me sick. That was my truth. I'm the classmate they enjoyed seeing the most. 2 and 2 is 4. That's up, that's down. That corn dog made me sick. Because I can't accept even the concept that I can't drink. I'm not even going to entertain that thought. How would I get to sleep? I mean, when I go to bed at night, I see my brother twisting on that keyboard. I see those Lakers dead. I hear that man screaming for his mama while he burns to death. She hurts. I'm in pain. My wife's not coming home next. The other little brother's in jail. You don't understand. A lot of excuses. A lot of excuses. Not a clue. I changed everything that I knew to change. I changed hobbies, hangouts, careers, wives, friends, locations. I changed everything. Hairstyles, music. What do I have to do? Buy an import, buy a domestic. What do I have to do? I'm just doing everything I know to do to try to get happy. I'm a nice guy. I've got a presidential citation for outstanding community service in times of peace as well as war. I've got the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Award for the community volunteer whose service was having the greatest impact on Oklahoma City. I'm a good guy. Can't be alcoholic. My dad's a policeman. Can't be alcoholic. My mom's a nice gal. She's just not very bright. I don't have a clue. But after you ride this pony long enough, if you're like me, those excuses, even though they make as much sense as 2 and 2 is 4 and that's up and that's down, they don't matter anymore. It's just too damn painful. I know my brother got to the stepping off point in that prison. He couldn't imagine life without getting loaded. He couldn't imagine life, or he couldn't have life with it anymore. And that's where I got to. And a very, very talented physician at the VA hospital properly diagnosed me. Didn't convince me, but he properly diagnosed me and convinced me to go to treatment. And I agreed to go, not because I thought I had a drinking problem. I did, as far as I was concerned. I had no intentions of quitting drinking. I did think I had a little problem with Valium. I take a lot of prescribed medications. And I have a hard time taking them as prescribed. And I'm always running out of medication. And man, if you take lots of Valium, then you run out. Sucks. And I was having a hard time. And so I agreed to go to treatment thinking that, I'll get off this Valium and get on something else. Because the stuff that's making me crazy ain't going to change because I quit drinking. I'm not going to, forget my Vietnam experience. I'm not going to forget my childhood. I'm not going to forget my brother's death. I'm not going to forget my disability. This chronic pain's not going to go away because I quit drinking or using. It's not even on my list of things to do. Let's just find something that works. Come on. I'm a disabled veteran. Fortunately, I got the medical detox that I needed. And they were very talented professionals at this particular facility, and they let the AAs in. They were smart enough to know that. And they had good nurses and things, and I would go to the nurse and I'd say, "But you don't understand. I can't sleep. I have a sleep disorder. I'm a combat veteran." The nurse would say, "Oh, Otto, honey, you'll sleep when you get tired." She obviously does not understand. Yeah. So I'd plead my case some more, and she'd say, "Oh, Otto, Honey, nobody ever died of a lack of sleep. Oh, Otto. She just used to kiss me. Oh, Otto. Nobody, you might die if I don't visit you. I mean, I'm scared to death and I don't know it because you're not supposed to be afraid in my family either. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. No, I'm decorated for heroism in combat, and I'm proud of my citations. You know, but today I know that I was just scared to death. I was scared to death. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. Fear was moving me around those jungles, doing the things we were doing, not courage. I didn't know what fear was. Till you took my drugs away. Till you took my alcohol away. Yeah. But fortunately, they let you folks come up there and do 12-step work. And it was the first time in my life, and I'll tell you why AA worked for me. But there's two real reasons why AA worked for me. One, three, man. I was willing. That was one thing. Another was I didn't have to read it in the book because I don't read. I don't read. I'm not proud of that, but I don't read. I mean, I can read, but I don't. And when I do read, I don't retain. I mean, my eyes move across the page, and I can't tell you a damn thing I just read. I read it, but I don't know what it said. So, you guys came up and you talked about yourselves, like Howard did tonight, like I'm doing. I don't know what anybody in here needs to hear. I'm not trying to tell you about you. I'm telling you about me, as I recall. Best truth I know today. And Otto I resonated with me louder than Otto you ever could. Because whenever somebody said Otto you, I tuned them out just like that. Because you don't understand. I know you don't. Because I've never told anybody the truth about me. Nobody knows I grew up in a violent, abusive home. Nobody knows how frightened I was in Vietnam. Nobody knows how much pain I've endured. Because, see, I'm deaf. When they brought me home from Vietnam, they put me in a hospital close to be home so I could be close to my family. And I wasn't about to let them see that I was hurting. I never cry. They'd put the real sick guys in my room so I could cheer them up because I drew cartoons. I'm an artist. I'm a phony. I never lived life on life's terms till they took my alcohol and drugs away. And then it was overwhelmed. It was fingernails on the chalkboard for me not to drink. Take my alcohol and drugs away just for a little while. I don't know nothing about obsession. I don't know nothing about compulsion. What I know is how's your day, Otto? Well, we think you'll do better if you don't drink. I needed a medical detox. While I'm getting it, I got some education. I found out, that alcoholism is a disease. And alcoholics are not bad people, they're sick people. It's a treatable disease. We treat it with abstinence. But you guys came up and you spoke in the first person. You said, Otto, I, and you told me about yourselves, and you guys were amazing. You guys shared my secrets. You guys had words to describe feelings I hadn't, didn't know what they were called. And I wasn't the only one that knew chronic pain. I wasn't the only one that's known hardship. I wasn't the only one that's known difficulty. I wasn't the only one who's had the short stick more than a few times. I'm not the only one. I thought I was because I never talked to anybody about it. What a relief. For me, it was like somebody's telling a joke and I don't get it, and then all of a sudden, that's funny. I'm an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic? Wow, you look pretty cool, Tony. You know, you look like a pretty straight up guy, and you're alcoholic. Wow. And this little hottie down here, Sharon Stacy, you know, you're an alcoholic. Really? Wow. I'd have never thought that. Alcohol? Oh my gosh. You know, alcoholics look like you and me. You know, wow. I was so excited. Because, I mean, I had done all I knew to do to wrestle some happiness out of my life, and it was just a shit sandwich. So I got excited. You know, you guys gave me hope. That's the gift I try to give any newcomer. Hope. You know, I talked to a guy on the phone today. I gave him my number the other day. I'm new in Arkansas. I'm dying to find a newcomer to work with. Please, God, give me a newcomer. I need to hear myself tell him what to do. Yeah. Because I'm struggling. Yeah, and this guy calls me today, and I'm crying on the phone. I'm crying because I'm telling him I love him, and I'm so glad he called. And I need to remember what I did. And then, you know, I've been in these dark places before, and I'll pass through the one I'm in now. I don't want to get teary, but I lost 25 years in sobriety. Anyway, Mom, Dad, we're all alcoholics. They weren't as impressed as I was with you guys. Like I said, you know, fortunately, it's not required for anybody else to participate. You know, I can get sober when I decided that I wanted to get sober and was willing to do what you guys had done. And, you know, I don't tell people what to do. I tell people what I did. And if they do what I did, everybody I've ever told that's done what I did has gotten sober too. I started sponsoring when I was 7 months sober. Kid asked me to help him, and I told him I didn't have enough time, and I was kind of flattered that he asked, and I told him my sponsor kid asked me to sponsor him. He said, "What'd you tell him?" I said, "I won't have enough time." He says, "What step you on?" I said, "Well, you know, I'm on 8th." And he says, "What step is he on?" I said, "Well, I guess he's on 1." He says, "Well, why don't you go help him with 1 through 7?" And, you know, time don't mean nothing. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to discount the value of our old timers. And, you know, I'm proud of my time and more grateful than proud, but time don't mean a lot. You know, either you're doing it or you're not. And, you know, there's just, if you got more time, you've had more opportunity and lessons and experiences, and you got more to share, and you've been received more grace. I've gotten so much grace in my time in recovery. But, you know, that young man's sober today. It's 27 years later. 7 months was enough to be a damn good sponsor to him because he made me get in the book and try to read it, you know. I have to tell you, when I started out, I didn't think this would work. I mean, you know, you guys were impressive, but I didn't, you know, as soon as I found that it was a God deal, like, you know, I didn't think this will work. You know, when I was shot, my first thought was I've been shot. I mean, it happened like this. It was the first shot fired that day. First shot fired that day. We'd been tough combat the day before, and I thought it was over. That had kind of been the experience. We'd have contact with the enemy, we'd fight, they'd go away. We'd have contact another day. They were still there, and I walked up on them. Short burst of machine gun fire cut me in two. I lay on the ground. My first thoughts, I've been shot. I have to realize what happened. Second thought, God help me. Third thought, no God. No. September 22nd, 1968, I quit wondering. I mean, I'd been to church. You know, I tried to believe. I wanted to believe. I liked people who believed. They seemed to be doing better than me. But after the shit I'm sorry, I try not to be that profane. I've done that 3 times now. I'm sorry. That says a lot about where I'm at. Anyway, uh, September 22nd, 1968, I became self-propelled. And I stopped even wondering about God. If there was a God, I want nothing to do with him. And then here you guys bring the God proposal back again. And I didn't think it would work, but a guy that hadn't been sober very long up at the hospital doing 12-step work, they stuck him in a room with me. He said, I understand you have a problem with God. Well, if there's a God, where was he when my dad's on my mama's chest? If there's a God, where was he when my brother's hanging himself in that cell? If there's a God, where was he in Vietnam? If there's a God, where is he when during the Holocaust? If there's a God, where is he during the tornadoes and hurricanes and floods? He's doing a shitty job. And I believed it, And I told him what happened to me that day in Vietnam, and he had magic words for me. I don't know where this youthful sobriety got all this wisdom, but I do believe God works through others. And Mike that day knew to say, Otto, you don't have to believe in the God you gave up on in Vietnam. And with that simple sentence, he let me out of the corner I had painted myself into with God. Now, this was, what a novel idea, He said, what would God have to be for you to take a chance and try, not saying you can do it, just try and turn your will and your life over to his care, important, that's an important word, care, not control. You get to keep control. That's important to me. I don't like it when other people are in control. So what would he have to be? And I thought this was a ridiculous proposal because I always thought I was supposed to figure out what I was supposed to be so that I might earn God's grace. What do I have to do to get my dad to love me? He's never said it. So I came up with a real simple concept. If God was omnipotent, if he's all powerful, and with all his power, I'm still pretty self-centered, with all his power, all he wants is for me to stay sober and like it. I have to like it. If I don't like it, I'm not going to do it. And I fully expected him to say, oh, no, Otto. No Disneyland gods. Come on, pick a team. What are you going to be? Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian? Come on. You want a yellow robe? We can get you to the airport. You can ching away. Come on. Pick a team. Don't pick the wrong team. We're killing each other all over the world. Go on. Pick a team. That's not what he said. He said, that's your higher power. You pray to that God. You ask the God that's all powerful, and with all his power, all he wants is for Otto to be happy, stay sober, and like it. That won't work. That won't work. But I got nowhere else to go. And, I was here. I liked you folks. You were fun to be around, and you were having a lot more fun than I was. And you said things like, if you want what we got, keep coming back. And there were some cute little gals. I thought, motives don't matter, folks. They really don't. Motives don't matter. If you do the right thing for the wrong reason, you're apt to get a good result. It's like, I didn't think it would work, so I was documenting the fact that I was going to meetings. I wrote down when I went. I'm not believing, so I don't care to pray. And but I'm documenting whose hands I'm holding at the meetings, so I can say I prayed, and I held Bob's hand and Terry's hand. And I prayed today. Every day I prayed. And I'm reading the book because the guys I was in treatment with, they came to my house every day. And we read the book aloud. And it made me angry because it had my life story in it. I could hear it when we were reading it aloud. And it was written before I was born. But it had my life story. And so I'm doing all the things they suggested. I'm calling my sponsor, documenting the calls. And because when I get drunk, I have every intent of suing Alcoholics Anonymous. That's my plan. That's my motivation. I'm hanging out with you guys because I got nothing else to do. I'm doing everything you suggest because I'm going to sue your ass. And when I get drunk, I'm going to be a rich drunk. Okay? Because I'm going to own all of this. But what happened was, uh, it's not an easy program. It is a pretty simple program. And, I just had to do a few of the things that were suggested, and not drinking one day at a time, God answered my prayers. And I've come to live in a world that I didn't know existed. I've gone places I didn't know I could go. I do things I never dreamed they weren't even on my wish list for things to do. I'm so spoiled. I am so spoiled. I mean, I had 25 years. Gosh, some people don't get any. No, none of it. None of it. I've been sober a couple of years. My first wife comes to me and she says, "You're doing so good, you take the little bitch before I kill her." And so my daughter came to live with me. She's a little bitch. She comes by it honestly. And no square pegs and round holes, let me tell you. I'm her daddy. Her mama married me. And I told her, I said, "Holly, I'm just going to love you. I'm just going to love you. That's my job now. I'm no longer in charge of punishment, discipline, education, beliefs. I'm not in charge of nothing. My job is to be your loving father. I'm going to love you the way God loves me. I'm going to love you the way we love a newcomer in AA. I'm just going to love you." She was not impressed. She set about to make my life a living hell. And I've been an active member in Al Anon for the last 27 years. And, if you've been sober a while and you're not liking it, come on over, because I needed to do some of the teachings that are going on over there, because people don't do it right. And you know what? I was able to just make good on that promise, to just be her loving dad. She was scared to death. She didn't want to come live with daddy who has no furniture. She's coming from the nice house out in the rich part of town with hot tubs and Dooneyburg purses and Guess jeans. And she's going to sleep in a little house with no furniture and in the inner city with dad, who is on this new sober zealot spiritual goofball. I mean, give me a break. She's scared to death. She has to change school. She don't want to be there. I'd call my spot chip. Johnny, she lives like a pig. She's a pig. She won't clean her room. He says, "Close the door." You know what? After enough time of just letting her be afraid, letting her be angry, letting her be defiant, letting her make mistakes, letting her just be her, do what she wanted to do, we started to get close. I had to earn that trust. I couldn't command it. She turned 16. She's been with me 3 years, and I bought her a little car. Wasn't much of a car. I don't have much money. She's not much of a driver. But I had a pretty cool little car. I'm a car guy. I got a pretty cool little car. It's convertible. She says, "Dad, can I take your car one night?" Rule number 4, I forgot. "Sure, honey. Be careful. Put the top down. Beautiful night." Matter of fact, I think OU was playing Ohio State. Some of it might be true. You might. Anyway, it's a beautiful night, and they weren't gone 30 minutes. Ring, ding. I was going too fast, and I crashed the car. Are you okay? Can you drive the car? Where you at? Where they're not supposed to be. Stay right there, sweetie. I'll be right there. I hung that phone up. I'm so mad. God, anything but my car. I mean, I put up with some. But my car, and I'm in this little crap box of hers going to get her. And it's this little Honda Prelude, 82 Prelude, you step on the gas and just the tack moves. Nothing happens. It makes more noise. I'm about to pull a steering wheel off this piece of, because I know I'm going to be driving it for a while. And I'm furious. And I've got that conversation going on in my head where she's going to say, and then I'm going to say, and then when she says, I'll say, and then, there's going to be. And I hear this conversation. Per se, Dad, I was going too fast and I crashed the car. That's unheard of. In my entire lineage, nobody cops to a short. You never tell the truth. Never. Tell them what makes you look good. I told my dad a deer ran out from me and I swerved to miss it. It's not true. I was just going too fast and I crashed a family car and he picked me up by one ear and damn near beat me to death. Almost pulled his ear off my head. Didn't I tell you to be careful? Didn't I tell you? Don't you know what that's going to do to insurance? Don't you know what that car means to this family? That night I go to Holly and I comfort her. See, she knows what that car means to me. She knows what it's going to do to insurance. She knows she was going too fast and she'd been told to be careful. She's dying inside. She doesn't need to be reminded or punished or have that affirmed. She needs her dad to comfort her in a moment of crisis and to be grateful that she's okay. When I do my inventory, the only thing that was wrong that night was I forgot rule 4. She can't drive. I want you to like me. I don't want to talk this long. I don't want to be too CDR. Did my 4-step and told my sponsor, I said, I'll do everything but go back to Vietnam. I won't go. I will not revisit Vietnam. I'm not going back. I thought they'd get me out of it. Thorough and fearless. I ain't. He said, well, let's do what you can. And then God's done. You'll revisit Vietnam. And the 4-step was the education I didn't get growing up. The 4-step, I found out that my problems are of my own making. That I suffer from a bias and a prejudice of self. And that I have unrealistic expectations. I think bad dogs shouldn't bite me. I think thieves shouldn't steal from me. I think liars shouldn't lie to me. I meet a young lady, we go out in the parking lot, we have sex, she leaves her husband, I marry her. I think she should come home. I don't get it. And then the 4-step, I learned the truth. My problems are of my own making. And that's good news, people. That's good news. Because if they have to change, if the world has to change, if the war has to change, if my brother has to come back, if my disability has to go away, if that has to change for me to be happy, if for me to know peace, I'm screwed. But I find the things in me that are objectionable, that cause me problems, that make me suffer unnecessarily. And as I ask God for help, He takes those things away, and I find a new life. Gulf War came when I was 5 years sober, kicked my ass, put me in therapy. I had to deal with Vietnam. I had to do a 4-step. Thought I was better. Went to speak at a hospital. They told me not to come back. Squeeze me? I don't know that there's anything wrong with me. I'm sitting on the porch with my mom. She says, oh, you're in trouble. What? I go to the races. I like the car races. I still go to the car races. I go to the car races every Friday night. I go if it's going to rain, hoping they race. Yeah. I'm at the car races. I get up in the middle of the beautiful night and I come home. I don't know why. I sit down Friday night, 9 o'clock, turn on the TV. My wife's stunned. What are you doing here? I don't know. Think I just didn't watch TV. Turn on the TV. 2020 is coming on. Used to be different than it is today. This was in 1992. And they used to do 3 little vignettes. And they'd be kind of happy stories. Now it's more murders and stuff. But, then one of the stories they were telling is called The Gift of Life, and it opens up with a helicopter flying over the jungles of Vietnam. And it's about a doctor who operated to save a soldier who was so gravely wounded. The consensus was to medicate him, set him aside, declare him expectant, and let him die. See, his legs are blown off. His arms are mangled. He's got shrapnel the size of your thumb in the middle of his brain. He has no eyes. He's destroyed, but he's still alive. And the doctor went against the consensus and saved this kid's life. And they asked, how'd he turn out? And the doctor didn't know. Hadn't even thought about him until he was asked. So it took them 2 years to find him, and they start telling his story. And on September 21st, 1968, he was in the helicopter trying to drop firefighter equipment. The instrument came down in the jungle. A rocket blew him out of the sky. And I sat on that sofa and I went to pieces. Because this was my story. This is the day. This is my kid. I never knew who he was. I always thought he probably died. And I'm watching him on TV. My wife came over and hung on me. We called my sponsor, Johnny, what's Dad doing? I don't know. You don't make stuff up, Either you got experience or you don't. I don't know, Otto. We'll do it together. Turns out, it is this kid. And since Vietnam, he's blind, he's leggy, he has no legs. He's cut off at the tailbone. I mean, he sits on his tailbone. He can feel with 2 fingers. He has no eyes in his head. But since Vietnam, he's married. He's fathered 2 kids. He's got a life. He's got a wife. But he suffers terribly with PTSD, and he's a horrible drunk, and he's violent. He's abusive. He can't get home from Vietnam. And I reached out to him, and thinking I might help him. But what happened was he drugged me back into those jungles, and he took me back to the places I couldn't go on my own. I couldn't go with the help of a professional counselor. He took me back. He knew the names and the call signs, and he tortured me. I was trying to help him. Kenny got sober. I did help. Kenny got sober. God used me to save him twice. And I was speaking at the Georgia State Convention about 10 years ago, and I told this story. I said, how long have you been sober now, Kenny? And now the audience came, his voice, about 10 years. You could have heard a pin drop. Hell of a guy. Hell of a guy. HBO was making a movie about him and the doctor. It didn't make me happy. He asked me to send him some stuff for the movie. And I put a cover letter with it, and I wrote in this cover letter, I said, Kenny, I got a resentment. But then, all the time we've known each other, the years we've known each other, you remember thanking us for saving your life. And that's what I had hung my hat on, for this anger I was feeling. It was about the movie on the day. It was about the movie, and it was about being drugged back into those jungles, even though I needed to go. But that's what I was hiding behind. And I put this cover letter with it about this resentment, and I showed it to my wife because it didn't have spell check and all thing then. And she looks at it, she goes, that doesn't belong in there. This part about you never said thank you, that doesn't belong in there. I said, oh, yes, it does. That's the truth. I live in the truth. Yeah, that belongs. And she said, well, isn't there some kind of a spiritual axiom or something that you guys have, where if there's a bug up your ass, it's your bug or something like that? If something disturbs you, that it's rooted in you or something like that, I just And so, I go back to I'm just going to edit that out. I just want it out so that I can just get this letter in the mail. I'm just trying to make it make sense that I can bid it in the mail. And what comes out was God's gift to me. What came out was the healing for me of the whole war experience. What came out for me was, Kenny, I've never said thank you. For 28 years, I'd only seen you run into the jungle, burning jungle, and get him. That's all I saw. Bias, selfish, self-centered. Another truth. Kenny was safe in the helicopter. I'm pinned down in the burning jungle. He flies into harm's way to help me and my men. When that rocket hit that helicopter, he gave his sight. He gave his legs. He entered into that darkness and that disability for me. He never even got a medal. Nobody ever told him, Kenny, thank you for your sacrifice. And it healed me. And it made me whole. And I see the world and the people that live in it differently. That's what changes in alcoholics when we get sober. If we'll try, practice these principles in all our affairs, if we'll just try to bring God into our life, we'll just try. He loves us. God loves me because He's God, not because I'm good. He loves me because He's God, not because of anything I've done or didn't do. He wants to love me just like I love loving my daughter. Please let me love you, daughter. All I have to do is make myself available, and He just keeps giving me gifts. I've had that surgery. I've had my hip fixed. I ride a Harley today. I rode 6,200 miles in 20 days on a Harley Davidson. It wasn't even on my list of things to do. I live pain-free today. I live in a world that I didn't know existed. Life sucks today. I mean, this wasn't the plan. I was going to live forever with Pat. My Pat. That I haven't found it necessary to drink. I haven't drank. And I haven't had to do any of it alone. I'm so glad to be here.